issue that we are all worried about because of the specific circumstances of South Africa, and it's most regrettable and most unfortunate. I think that the young people of South Africa do not know what happened before they gained their freedom. The whole of this continent stood behind South Africa. The whole of Africa stood behind South Africa to fight against apartheid. I remember all of us growing up as secondary school children, went on marches. We were part of the African Youth Command. We demonstrated, we boycotted classes and all that, all in the fight against apartheid. Indeed, for several of the countries where their citizens have been brutalized in South Africa, these are countries that were called frontline states that harbored the freedom fighters, of South Africa and gave them safe haven, gave them passports, to be able to avoid the clutches of the apartheid regime. And even Nigeria, even though not a neighbor of South Africa, was considered a frontline state because of the economic contribution that Nigeria did to the ANC to be able to liberate South Africa from apartheid. And so it is regrettable that the same people who fought against apartheid, are being attacked in this way. The pictures we've seen are very horrible. As ECOWAS, we've issued a statement condemning what is happening. The unfortunate thing is this is not the first time. It keeps flaring up. And so while we're condemning this incident, we must work with the South African government to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
These borders here were never designed by Africans. They were imposed on us by colonialists when they were dividing Africa amongst themselves. Dwelling self-hate. How bonali Zimbabwe, you must see yourself. We are all black, we are all suffering. When it's an African, it's a criminal. Hey, they are the ones who are bringing drugs. Hey, they are the ones who are committing crime. It's not true. Go and read the statistics of South Africa. Barry, women are abused by their immediate or well-known people to them. It's not Nigerians who are known to women. It is you. The whole of Africa was there for us when we were in the difficult times. They gave us guns. They gave us their houses. Know your history. How can you say history? How? Then from there, you'll protect one another. Who did this? It's another African. To a fellow African brother and sister. We are for Africa. Africa is not a continent. We are one thing. We are for Africans. African unity is what will make us to be proud.
Let them leave them.
No, they leave them. You should them.
Let them go put down. Now everybody here is they feel their family speaking. I know this is here. Their family my brother. Their family speaking. Choice.
It's not good. It's not good.
Find ways of stopping them. I've directed the Minister of Police to have a meeting at hostels with the Indunas, because this violence is now mutating and taking different forms that represent themselves in a way that we do not want to see in South Africa, where communities seem to be attacking one another. So we want this to stop, and I want it to stop immediately. The people of our country want to live in harmony, and whatever grievance and concerns that people have, we need to handle it in a democratic way. We need to handle it by discussing concerns and problems that we may have. And we've done so very well in the past on a number of other very difficult issues. And this is precisely what we should continue doing. So there is just no justification whatsoever for any South African to go out of their way to attack people from other countries. We need to act in a way where we give respect to people from other countries and show them that they are welcome to be in our country. We need to deal with our own problems in a way where we sit down and discuss those issues with the various structures that we have. We cannot accept a sense that South Africans do not welcome Africans or other people from other countries. We cannot do that because we are welcomed in other countries. Right now, we are part of the whole continent having inaugurated the Africa Free Trade Area Agreement. So our drivers are now going to be afraid to drive vehicles in other countries. And there's just no justification whatsoever for people who have a sense that their jobs are being taken by people from foreign lands to attack them, to destroy properties, and actually to kill them. This must be stopped. And this is a national crisis. Gender-based violence in South Africa has become a huge crisis. And it's something that we've got to address now. We've been horrified by the killing of Uyinene Mkhwejana, recently a student at the University of Cape Town, who went to a post office and was brutally murdered. And what concerns me more, of course, is that it happens in a government entity and a government employee. That is a matter of real deep concern to me. But at the same time, we've had Leandre Jegels, who was also murdered. And these are acts of killings against women that we cannot accept. I've spoken extensively about this matter. And following the gender-based violence summit that we had, we are making progress on a number of fronts. But it does seem like the men of our country, South Africa, are continuing with the killing of women. The respect that I've always said that we should display towards women is just not gaining traction. Now I'm calling upon the men of South Africa to stand up one by one and declare that we've got to bring an end to this scourge of the killing of young women and women in our country. It's got to end. Gender-based violence is a scourge that is not acceptable in a democratic dispensation. We've got to increase safety for women in our country, and we've got as men to ensure that we give respect and due regard to the women of our country. And we will be doing everything we can from the criminal justice system to make sure that we increase the level of protection